Hello again, it's me Alexo, and here we are today in my kitchen. Now the reason we're here is because we're going to review Penn and Teller, How to Play with Your Food. This book is very similar to the last one, Cruel Tricks for Dear Friends, with the main exception being that all the scams and practical jokes in this book are all dedicated to food. They say you should never judge a book by its cover, but here is one of the very rare occasions where you can. Every single item on the table in front of Penn and Teller is related to a scam or a trick in the book. Now this one, just like Cruel Tricks for Dear Friends, came with an envelope filled with props. Now I think these are a little bit harder to find because I think at least one item in this prop envelope was recalled after a little bit, but they're actually very fun. One thing that's in here is a sheet of stickers full of various things that you could put on food items, to pass off as fake ingredients. Do not eat. Keep frozen. Now even more MSG. Serving suggestions, serve with cold lard. Also makes an all-natural insect repellent. 50% more packaging. Now what's even funnier about all these is that the people most likely to be checking the ingredients for these are already neurotic, so this will just drive them over the edge. It also comes with this little thing printed on, I think it's like rice paper or something like that. It's basically little things you cut out and you can print and put in fortune cookies. Some of the fortunes include the chef spit in your food, your card was the 3 of clubs, and that lump is cancer. Actually, that last one really isn't funny at all. Now the effects in this book vary from the interesting to the amazing to the just plain gross. Now this trick also talks about magic with food-related items, such as cutlery. When you see the thing that does this, you're going to shoot bricks. And of course, this will end right into talking about possibly the most famous and controversial tricks of all time, spoon bending. They talk about 2 methods of spoon bending in this book. One they claim for really lousy people, and one that they would recommend as a legitimate trick. All the while they go into the reasons for why people who claim to actually be able to bend spoon with their minds or read minds or predict the future, not as a trick but actually as an actual skill, should not be praised, should not be encouraged, and should not be allowed to let themselves live in their little fantasy world. And all the time they make it clear that there is one person in mind that they're talking about, but they don't address him by name in the book. But I think we all know who it is. They also take the time to plug their good friend James Randi. Now, for many years, James Randi has offered a prize of $1 million to anybody who can demonstrate any psychic power. And so far, nobody famous has even taken the steps to going through with the challenge. A lot of people, I've seen people who say that they will take the challenge but then chicken out or make up excuses for why they don't want to do it. Or they say they want to take the challenge but only if Randi applies a set of conditions which they know that they're not going to give them special treatment for. But in reality, this is all just lame excuse making. I mean, if your problem is with money, just, do the challenge, do what you claim you can do, and let them worry about it. This should not be about money. This should be about proving to the world, silencing all critics, and proving to the world that psychic power exists. But why don't they do this? Why don't they take the challenge? Very simple. Psychic power does not exist. They also talk about how to get free meals at a restaurant. Like, do you know that if you file off the magnetic strip on a credit card, it'll go through and not charge any money to your account? See, the idea is that the next time you go to a restaurant, this book will automatically pay for itself. You'll notice on the cover, a rifle is laid out across the table. This rifle is involved with the most ambitious demonstration in the entire book. You see, this rifle is a Mannlicher Carcano rifle. Why that make and model? Here's why. It's the exact make and model of the one Oswald used on Kennedy. You see, they're doing more than trying to rip you off or take your money or just do a magic trick on you. This demonstration is actually part of disproving a conspiracy theory. You see, in the original The Zapruder film of the JFK assassination, JFK's head goes back and to the left. Now, people who don't know that much about physics would assume that that meant that the gunman was in front of him and the gun hit him from here. And since the Texas Book Depository, where they found Oswald at the time of the assassination, was behind Kennedy, people take that as proof that Oswald was not the one who gunned him down. However, this is not the case. You see, a bullet penetrating a skull does not transfer a lot of its energy to the head. It's a tiny object moving at a very fast rate of speed, so it just goes right in. The brain doesn't offer much resistance, and when it exits out the other side, it pulls a lot of brain matter with it. The bullet and exiting brain matter create a jet blast that pushes the head back into the left. Now, they use this using a honeydew melon, 1-inch fiberglass tape, and the rifle. The arrow indicates the direction of the bullet. Here is what happened. There you go. The whole back and to the left thing that got beaten into our heads in the JFK movie is perfectly consistent with getting shot in the back of the head with a high-powered rifle. Another dramatic demonstration is Penn and Teller using the Great Egg Drop to demonstrate the escapology concept of NPD. Okay, the concept at work here is a concept called NPD, no permanent damage. Basically, it's the act of creating a situation that looks on the surface like something crazy and impossible to attempt, yet if you break it down, it's really not that dangerous and not that big a deal. For example, we have 4 glasses, 4 cards, 4 eggs, and a tray. The idea is to smack the tray, make it go flying that way, and have all 4 eggs go into the glass. Now, if I mess up, if I don't hit the tray hard enough, what's the worst that can happen? You get 4 broken eggs. So with that in mind, let's try the Great Egg Drop and the concept of NPD. 1, 2... Got it! I'm going to close this video with the trick that Penn and Teller opened with. This is possibly the best dinner table trick ever invented. It's been written about in numerous books, and it's been seen on television numerous times. And it comes from the mind of the ingenious Mac King, the world-famous ice cream. Cool, huh? Well, this concludes the review. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment, rate it high, subscribe to the rest of my videos, and tune in next time when I'll be taking on Penn and Teller, How to Play in Traffic. Thank you, and good night. Oh, and also, that whole thing about the credit card to get free meals, that was total bullshit.